Hello, hello. Welcome to With Wisdom, embodying energy and embracing seasons. And my name's Sam, and I'm joined by a very special person today, and that is Gabriela Alvarez Jurgensen. Have I said that correctly, Gabby?
Yeah.
And people are thinking, hold on, hold on, hold on. You two have been recording all year, and now you're saying that Gabby's your special guest. So we decided for the last 2 weeks of March, we're going to interview each other because I have a feeling that some of you, particularly our new subscribers, might not know who we are and what do we stand for and what do we think is really important to us. And so here's an opportunity for me to ask Abby some questions and for you to get to know a little bit more about her. And immediately you might have spotted that I shortened her name to Gabby. So, Gabby, are you happy for your name to be shortened?
Yeah, I love it. I feel when people call me Gabriela, I feel like they are mad at me, but because it's an association, no? When my mother, since I don't have a second name, no, so many people, when the parents are angry, they call people by their second name, but I don't have
Yeah.
one. So my mom used to say Gabriela.
Okay, so this is good. So, Gabby, I'm not angry with you. So I'm going to call you Gabby for the rest of this session. Um, I've I have known you for many years now, actually. I think we've gone past the stage when we say, oh, we've only known each other for a few years. I think I've known you for many years now. And I've got to know you very well through the work that we have done. But as I said, I think it's really important for our subscribers to know a little bit more about you and who you are and what you stand for. Just let's go to the basics there. So Gabriela Alvarez Jurgensen. So where does that name come from? And does it have any meaning?
Mm. You mean my last names or
Yeah,
my?
your last names and your
Yeah.
first name.
Well, my first name I don't. I mean, besides the, how do you say in English, the
Gabriela.
angel? No, the angel,
Oh, Gabriel,
the
Gabriel. Yes.
Gabriel that was making the annunciation. No, it's the annunciation
Mm.
angel. So I don't know. Maybe I came to announce something in the world. I don't have a clue. I don't know why they named me Gabriela. And
Mm.
Alvarez and Jurgensen is quite a mix. Here in Germany, when I used to work in BSF, they thought I was married with a Swedish guy because of
Oh, okay.
Jurgensen. But no, that's the last name of my mom. So I'm quite. I think I'm. It's a funny thing because my genes and my roots come from this continent, from
From
Estonia,
Europe.
and from
Yeah.
Spain. So that's why Alvarez is from Spain and Jurgensen from, actually not only from Estonia, it comes really from Sweden,
Yeah.
300 years ago. And then my ancestors traveled to Venezuela, and just to give me the wonderful gift to be born in such a beautiful country surrounded by the Andean mountains. And
Oh, that sounds so beautiful.
yeah, and now I came back 20 years, 21 years ago to, not exactly to the country my ancestor came, but yeah, I came back here. I don't know why,
Mm.
but it's like that. It's life like that, right? I
Yeah.
think nowadays when people are like I'm saddened and I, on one hand I understand. No, we are in troubled times, and some people tend, when they are caught by fear, tend to close themselves, and we tend to want to, yeah, push everybody out, or people we think they don't belong to us or to our country. But
Mm.
when I see my history, the history of my ancestors, um, I think it's a history of humanity. I mean, we have been travelers, and we have been
Mm.
always
Travelers and explorers.
yeah, and also looking for safety. No, my grandparents left Europe, so my grandparents from Estonia because of the war, no, and because of fearing their life and the different circumstances, and they went to Venezuela to look for a calmer life and safety. My grandparents from and my father, because my father was born in Spain, in Galicia, so and also having Celtic roots
Mm.
somehow. Vikings and Celts.
Yes, wonderful.
So, and they went to Venezuela also looking for better conditions for life, right? Because Spain at that point was not doing well in regards to economical situation, and also war and dictatorship and all this stuff. And I think I'm not an exception. If anyone looks at their own story, they will see that their ancestors always try to, to love the land they were living into, but also to make sure that they can have a legacy in this world, right?
Fabulous. So you are pulling on those ancestral roots with your moving from one continent to another, and and using their courage as you support yourself in the world that you're bringing to be with your own family, your immediate family. Yeah. Thank you. Just to kind of give a little bit of extra little information about you. And as we always do for anybody who is a regular watcher of our YouTube videos or somebody who's new, when we do an interview, we ask two questions. And so Gabby and I have been asking these two questions to our guests throughout the year, the whole of last year. So I'm going to ask you, Gabby, the questions that we have been asking our guests. And the first question is, what wisdom do you draw on for your work? What wisdom do you draw on for your work?
Well, maybe I may go back a little bit and say what do I do for work, or what I intend to do for work, because I have been in transition. So I think I mean, for people that have been watching us over this year, maybe they know that I'm by training, I'm a chemical engineer, and specialized in substances called surfactants, which they bring together apparent different components like water and oil. And since we met each other, I have been in like going into new worlds, and I train like as a coach, somatic coach, also transpersonal coach. I did a training and Qigong and all this stuff, and so working with the body, and then poetry and writing came out for my work. And nowadays, I think I'm in a point after it has been like 5-6 years of this mixing together. It's reflecting kind of the process I was specialized for many years in this, like trying to bring together water, oil, or air and water to create foams or emulsions. And I'm in the point to find the surfactants or the bridges of all the different Gabrielas I am, no? So
I love that, the bridges, and bringing your scientific world when you're doing that exploration and being very curious, experimenting to what you're doing now, where you are now.
Yeah, and I like that, because at some point, I was so disconnected, and that was the reason I left. No, I was feeling disconnected, ill, and burdened by all these things. At some point, I felt that I had to be at war with all what I was and all this stuff. And nowadays, I'm so grateful because it has opened myself to many ways to. I can understand the things I'm studying with a scientific mind, thanks to my training, and I also can bring together all these things. So that's what I'm now in the process to try to bring together these worlds to continue as coach, writer, maybe, and opening myself to come back to the working world as an employee. So searching for a job, but now with this new complex system I am, enriched by that, and talking about the wisdom. So you see, I have been drawing from many, many different streams of wisdom. Now there's all the things like I like a scientist, like I used to read a lot of books from, I don't know, Bessel van der Kolk or Gabor Mate, or all this like more scientific way to understand the physiology and how the body works and the nervous system or the surfactants or whatever. or Asimov, and on the same time I read mystics books, no, like Tao Te Ching or all these things. But the moment I am in my life, all this wisdom is now informed by the life experience. Actually, it's informed by reality. It's I come from a point. I used to be a bookworm, and I'm still a bookworm, and I like it. But it's more embodied. It's really what is happening in my life and in the nature world and in my practice as internal martial artist, or all these things that give me the source of wisdom I'm using nowadays for whatever I do as work, writing or coach or whatever. Yeah.
So the whole mixture. So the science world, there's the natural world, there's your Qigong and Chinese wisdom world, in a martial arts you mentioned you're drawing on. Anything else?
Yeah.
So anything else?
Relationships. I think the biggest source of wisdom for me is all relationships. I'm very grateful to have in my life, and very thankful to have multi-generational relationships. No,
Yes.
so I don't have only relationships with people that are my age or my same generation. I have relationships with people older, but also younger than myself. No, I have friends like 18 years older, younger and older also, so in this range. And it's so nourishing because not only about the age, also different cultures and different backgrounds, and it allows me to see how all what is in common in us, right? All the common ground, like we were talking. And so yeah, relationships is a big source of wisdom for me.
Lovely, thank you. So how does all of that relate to let's just get the right word of the question. How does the way you're living now align with your desired legacy for the future?
Well, since I started to have this longing to explore new horizons in my life, it's also started the practice to be very aware of death, of dying. Some years ago I read a book from a philosopher that I don't remember his name, but the book is called Carpe Diem, and he explored the different ways of describing what carpe diem is. And one of the practices he evoked there is a practice that I know from many traditions, that it's used in many traditions, where you are aware, I mean, that you use death as a way of becoming a better human being in life.
Yeah.
So it became quite a thing. It's nowadays a little bit more organic. At the beginning, I had to remember myself, but when I was in the middle of turmoil and a lot of things going on in my work and in my in then marriage and all these things, I used to ask myself if this would be the last moment of my life, how I want to be. And the answer, in a nutshell, it has changed maybe in the way of expressing, but in a nutshell, in essence, is I want to be really present in my life. I want to be the one living my life. I don't want that my life is lived by my narrative, by my fears, by my interpretations of reality. I want that the life I'm living is lived by the human being I created and brought to this life.
Yes, makes
by
sense.
whatever the Tao, whatever you want to say. And I think that's the legacy. I'm beyond, I mean, writing books or whatever, and also the legacy I think I'm intending and willing to live with my son. The legacy and it's bringing peace into all relationships in my life and in my existence, and to allow myself to be really present the most I can, and also be present with reality the most I can. Of course, knowing that I have blind spots and that I might not know all the reality, but that's the way I live. The way I live is intending to be present, even with uncomfortable feelings, with the scenes that you rather not feel or sense or go through. Right? I really want to be there.
Yeah, and just be with them, be in the moment, be really present. make the most of everything that's going on right now for you.
Yeah, because it's we imagine if a flower comes to the world, and we were talking about spring, no, and everything is flourishing and blooming. And if a flower comes into the world and that doesn't allow to be completely and full into the fullness of what she is supposed to be, even in the things that we consider not nice, it's not offering the gift for herself and for the world, no? And I think that's a legacy we can all live in this world. And in the measure we allow ourselves to be really authentically who we are, I sense in the years I have more peace because I don't feel betrayed by myself. I used to feel betrayed by, at the beginning when I divorced or when I left the company, at the beginning I was with this sentiment or feeling like, oh, someone did something to me,
Yes, there's a kind of like a feeling of anger and frustration, maybe.
Yeah,
Or
but
being
then I
put upon, or
realized I
yeah.
was angry and frustrated with myself because I was not occupying my position in
Space.
life. It doesn't mean that I will impose myself, but I was not in my center because, and it's okay, it's part of the journey of life, but I was trying to be or to show myself in a way I was not feeling it because I wanted to be it, and it's normal. I understand. I wanted to be accepted, valued, seen, and I thought all these things that people were expecting of me that maybe people were not even expecting of me, but I made a whole history, a whole story in my mind because you are born and you make stories of your life. So yeah, I was angry more with me that I've had the sense I betray myself, and nowadays I feel it less. So that's the way I live. I try to live with honesty, humility, presence, and also accepting that I'm human and make mistakes and trying to rectify whenever I can. Yeah.
Gosh, Gabby, so much wisdom that you've shared with us. Reminder for people that are listening, reminder for me when you've been talking about being present, recognizing the gifts that we have right now. Yeah. The joy that you have with, your son, the gifts that you can offer other people immediately, freely, your beauty of your words and your poetry. Yeah. So there's something that's coming through for me when you were talking about that. Very curious, in terms of a legacy that you're leaving, somebody who's curious and very brave, brave to take some risks as well, to try new things, to support a better future for you and for your family and for other people who will come beyond, in your wider circle of friends.
Yeah. May I share something I wrote recently on my Substack about miracles? No?
Do you want to find it? Do you want to find it? We've got a moment just for you to have a little look and find it.
What, my Substack?
Do you know it off by heart?
No, I just want to mention something about because I was, I'm as you said, I'm very curious. So, and I like as I write and poetry comes through me, I love words, but I love words because for me they are beings and they are alive and they carry spirit or they carry life, right? And I like to investigate how these words I mean, not in a sense of academics, but I like to get an imagination and read about how was the origin of these words, like miracle. No, so I was investigating what a miracle is because you often hear, no, that we don't appreciate miracles in life, and even breathing and being alive is a miracle. But it's amazing that at the beginning, miracle it was something to admire and to marvel at. That was the proof of the divine, no, so that the divine left a trace in this world. So at the end, you could say everything is a miracle because the divine, no, in the Bible, it says that the word became flesh. No, in many of the traditions, in the spiritual traditions, it said that this energy, and even in the Tao Te Ching, no, the Tao, you cannot describe it, you cannot name it, you cannot point it out because it's formless. It doesn't have any form. But how did the Tao become informed? It became with the expressions of the Tao, no? And it's through these expressions that we are aware of this marvelous force or being or whatever we want to name the divine. And then the miracle also in Chinese, it was named like that. It's Ji Chi, but there's thousands of pictograms that you can use for doing the different ways of describing miracle, but it's about this trace. And what I was writing is that being present, what I was saying, that this capacity of being present allows you to become aware of the miracles that are happening because you are not caught up in the stories you have in your mind, and you're able to see whatever is developing, and you are able also to listen. In Chinese, the miracle was linked to the flow of qi, so the natural flow of energy. And if you are in the flow of the energy, nothing is blocked, nothing is resisted, and you allow nature to unfold as it to unfold, right? And at the end, that's a miracle of every day.
Absolutely.
And that was I was writing because of well, I mentioned several times here that this year has been challenging because my son has been ill, and it also has been a great school and teaching going through this process, because sometimes we go and talk to the same doctors, they are the same. The X-rays that they do on the bones of my son, they are the same. They show the same problem, but each appointment is different depending on the energy. And I can now be aware on how much impact it had. For example, the days I didn't listen and I went more with preconceived ideas, then the other person felt a little bit more threatened and it was with a more reactive energy. And yeah, so this Monday we went to the doctor again, and I mean, reality has been as it is, no? Diego is luckily enough and thankfully enough walking without crutches and without pain, and enjoying being a young boy.
person again. Yeah,
again, with some limits. So there's the reality of the sickness, there's the reality of the limits, but he's also getting better. And I did a great job, and I want to be proud of myself in trying not to get caught up with my fears and allow whatever was unfolding. And the result is now he's happy, his bone is healing. It's not perfect, may need an operation, but it's not as bad as at some point it was shared. And that was I was writing about miracles. It's about being so present that you can really acknowledge and marvel at whatever is unfolding and whatever life is calling you to.
Yeah, and you use the word trace. And trace, when I think of that word, is a very sort of, it's just almost there and you may not be aware of it. You know, you might have the trace of like a sweet that you ate maybe 2 hours ago, or the trace of a little bit of saltiness on your skin if you've eaten something salty. So it's just that, but actually being present allows us to just tap into that. So those, if you say the miracles leave a trace, and there's an opportunity for us to actually soak up and absorb some of that wonder into ourselves, which will resource us too.
Yeah,
Gabby, I wonder. I know we haven't planned to do any of this, by the way, if people who are watching. They have a sensory herbal oracle here. And I wonder whether if I just shuffle them, that you'd be happy for me to pick a card for you.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so I can't see any of these words, and I should just do a quick little shuffle. But there are colours. So if I show you the deck, you can see colours. They're all plants. And if I just move my finger, and you can just tell me when you want me to stop.
Yeah,
that colour?
No, a little bit more. No,
on the other way?
Direction. Yeah, there.
This one.
Yeah.
So this one, I'm pulling out. Oh, alchemy. Okay. Well, that's a lovely one for you, alchemy. And I'm going to just read. Say my
Yeah.
card picks up somehow. I'll hold it up in a minute. Let me just find alchemy. So this is to do with a lady's mantle alchemy. That's the common name in England is lady's mantle, and it's a beautiful plant that when the water droplets drop on it, they just sit on the surface of the leaf. And it's a bit like the oil and the water that you were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, alchemy. Lady's mantle signifies imminent transformation. Change is afoot. This complex plant acts as a conduit for transcending ancestral patterns. Its supportive structure, firm stems branching out, reflects the interconnectedness of generations, the generations that you've been talking about at the beginning of our podcast, with the ability to transmute confusion into understanding and healing. It fosters healthy evolution with ancestral lineages. Oh, so that's a really beautiful card for you to pick. And actually, I'm going to send you, it's quite a lot in here. So I'm going to send you this. But one thing that I just popped, my eyes just stopped on. Mother Mary is depicted on this card as the Black Virgin, shrouded in victory. Mother Mary.
And you know, she's one of my guides.
Mother Mary really was. But here she is presented as a symbol of female transformational power and divinity. So I'm going to send you the little words for this so you can have a read of it. There is something there that is there for you to guide. And as I say, if you have a look at a picture of a leaf of Alcamellia mollis, that's the name of the plant. When the dew sits on the leaf, it just sits gently on the top. And it just reminded me so much of the work that you've done to make the bridge between oil and water and foam and water or air and water and then bridging the gaps, bridging between the different parts of you that you've shared today. So I think we need to stop there. Gabby, it has been wonderful talking to you. And I'm so happy that you agreed to be interviewed today. Did you find out something more about yourself as you were talking?
Sorry?
Find out a little bit more about yourself when you were talking.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a beautiful way to celebrate our 1 year together. I'm very grateful. It has been one of the things that allow me to go through these challenging times and have taught me a lot. And I'm also very grateful to have the opportunity to know you more and to interact with you more than we did in the past already. But this year together has been quite life transforming. Thank you very much.
It's not over yet because we've got more to come.
But I just wanted to acknowledge that and to be. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to sign off here. So with wisdom, embodying energy, embracing seasons. It's goodbye for me.
Bye-bye. And don't forget to share, subscribe, and like, and let us also know about yourself a little bit on the comments. We are very, very happy to hear from you. Yeah?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.